have returned. I was on vacation. I'm back now, just in time to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. Okay, I'm like 3 days late to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, but we're talking about it. We're also going to talk about what is pretty much the only big thing people want to talk about in the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG world, at least if Zodiac is to be believed, which you probably shouldn't listen to. But anyways, so yeah, this week, Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush episode 22. Well, this week we continued where we left off, which is pretty obvious. Anyways, so yeah, it's time for the duel between Rovian, Yuhi, and Uamu. And you know what? Even though I wasn't super excited that Udius has basically been taken out of the picture and we're just following the regular human characters in this alien story, I actually enjoyed this. This was actually pretty clever and a really fun duel. Now, on the one hand, I feel like Uamu at least should have suspected they were walking into a trap and a 2-on-1 duel was Rovian's strategy, but it was fun enough that I'm willing to kind of forgo the smart character is dumb because the episode needs to happen that you see in a lot of these kinds of shows. But so essentially, the plot is mostly just the duel. And it is that Rovian's on one side, Yuhi and Uamu then take turns. They share 4,000 life points, which is what made this cool because that was kind of her strategy. Rovian's strategy was literally to take advantage of the fact that they're going to have so much more card advantage, inflicting points of damage based on number of cards in hand, being able to take advantage of the fact that the two are kids and therefore can be manipulated. Like at the end there, when she just goes like, you just want to get promoted and you're after the space treasure. Like that just sort of idea of like just putting the seeds of doubt in Yuhi about his sister. And you could make the argument, yeah, it was because she was in berserk mode or whatever the fuck. But I also kind of think this is the sort of show, just like the last one was, where someone could secretly be trying to set that sort of stuff up in people. And as far as Rovian as an antagonist goes, I quite enjoy her, actually. I think that sort of the gimmick of her being this weird troubadour almost looking girl is quite fun. I think the sort of idea that her hatred, it's sort of like what I was talking about last time, where her thing is that she doesn't like the idea that everyone is suppressed. She doesn't like the fact that there's no freedom. She doesn't like the fact that things like rush duels or things like that have these ulterior motives than to just enjoy them and to be free with them. And you know what? It fits the character of a musician like that very well. A lot of teen musicians are obsessed with that sense of freedom, so I felt like it integrated the theme of the character along with the plot very well. Also, of course, naturally, she has the same last name, Kirishima, I think that's pronounced Kishirima, it doesn't matter, as Roman, Roa, and London. I was sort of hoping they'd keep up the joke of her being named after a city like London is, but I guess that's supposed to be the idea of like, he's London because he's the manipulative one like Roa, and she's Rovian because she's more like Roman, just kind of a girl who wants to do her own thing in life, but it still works regardless. Yeah, I think that's interesting and sort of showing how, yeah, she is kind of the head of everything. She is in charge, but she's not necessarily doing it because it's bad. Also, we've got the Goha girl. These two some kind of lesbians, it's feeling like. I don't know. But it is quite sort of funny. I do sort of like this idea that she mostly just got involved because she wants to. I'm sure because it's Yu-Gi-Oh! She'll have her own ulterior motives. But all in all, I really like the dynamic with these characters. I don't know why, I do find how often she just hits the bag. And just how fucking mean she is to Sky is quite funny. And then, of course, about halfway through the episode, they lose the duel. And they're stuck, being, like, weighed down and everything. And then, the, little idol girl and the giant dog come to save them, which feels a little superfluous because they're just going to get kicked out anyways. And I guess the next episode looks like it's a pep talk episode. So I don't know what the ultimate point to having these two here besides just to be here is at that point. But that still just might be my annoyance that I'd rather we be focusing on Udius right now than not. But all in all, this is a really fun episode featuring a really fun duel, a really fun new antagonistic force, and a really fun way of working with the characters. Also, you know what I liked? Our main characters busted the boss monsters out right a fucking way. No more of this, just summon a bunch of little guys for 5 turns until you finally summon the big monster. Fuck that shit. We are summoning the boss monsters now. We are coming out of the gate with gloves on fight night. That's right. We're doing this shit. I'm tired of this just summoning like little baby monsters and just watching them slam into each other while nothing interesting going on. Though that being said, I really find this arc about learning what equip spells is to be fucking stupid. I don't like it. It's such a weird, random, arbitrary thing to go with. And it's just kind of like, yeah, the last one did this, but I felt like there was something more exciting about being like, what the fuck is a maximum? What the fuck is a fusion? Is a bit more interesting than, oh my god, a spell. It's just not very interesting. And like I said a lot with when they did this in Sevens, I really don't like the idea that all the summoning mechanics, or at this point, even just most of anything you can do in Yu-Gi-Oh, including in Rush Duels, has just been yeeted out of the plot just to slowly spoon feed us back over the course of 2 to 3 years. It's annoying, and I wish it would stop, and hopefully the next art isn't about, oh my god, this is a continuous spell, which I fear it might. But yeah, no, all in all, fun experience, and it's nice to see the two of them lose. It makes Rovian feel more powerful. Like, these characters feel stronger because they actually are taking out our protagonists, and it is sort of nice, the idea that the two siblings didn't then be like, no, we can get along, and then tie the turns. Like, they played completely into her strategy, and she took full advantage of it, and it worked out in her favor. That's how you make an antagonist interesting. But yeah, no, so that's pretty much all there is to the episode. Not a lot happened. So, I guess we should go ahead and do it. I don't really want to do this, but again, since it's kind of the most talked about thing in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, I feel like I should throw my 2 cents in. And that is our TCG question of the week, Mystic Mine. Why is Mystic Mine? What is Mystic Mine? Is it okay that Ojama Mineburn, which is all I want to call that deck, won YCS Rio? You bet your fucking sweet ass it is. That's fucking incredible. Fuck all of you who are just like, oh my god, it's so bad. The Sigma YCS. Oh my god. Yu-Gi-Oh is bad. Ah! Shut the fuck up. Like, fuck all of you. Mystic Mine won Nationals. It won YCS Hartford. Like, it's won everything. Like, Christ. All you people do is complain about stuff never topping. No variety, no Rogue, no blah, blah, blah. Fucking Rogue won a YCS. Fuck. Now, to be fair, I am to a certain capacity oversimplifying this. I just feel like everyone needs to stop dogpiling on this guy because he was able to win the YCS with just pure troll levels of what the fuckery. I genuinely respect the fact that he sat across from 2 days worth of Yu-Gi-Oh opponents and just made them want to pull their hair out for 2 days straight. But this does, of course, naturally lead into the debate with Mystic Mine. So for those of you who maybe aren't following the competitive circuit so much, I've got Mystic Mine in front of me. Y'all are smart. Y'all can read it. But of course, naturally, the big issue with this card is that it has this total shutout of monster effects and essentially punishes you for having any monster-based board at all. Now, in a vacuum, this doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Yu-Gi-Oh! As a game is supposed to be fundamentally split up between monsters, spells, and traps. The problem is, for a very fucking long time now, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been so monster effect based that the other two almost just feel like backup dancers when they're supposed to be part of the main band. And that's a problem, and it's been a problem for a very long time. In fact, that's why Firewall Dragon was so bad for the game. In a vacuum, being able to just summon monsters just from the hand is good, but not incredible. I mean, Pendulums were good, but had a lot of problems being great, except when you gave them a fuck ton of supplementary engines. Firewall was good because so many archetypes, i.e. mainly Dangers and Gokis, but everything else that could abuse it, are based around getting to so many monsters so easily and so many other cards. Firewall is only as good as the monsters you run with it, just as Mystic Mine is only as destructive as your opponent's deck is monster-based. So this is where the debate comes in. Do we let majority rule and remove Mystic Mine from the game? Because, well, the majority of people who play Yu-Gi-Oh! Play monster-based decks, so is it fair to them that they all have to suffer for a minority of people? Or is the opposite true, and that is because this game can be so degenerate, so overpowered, so overwhelming at times that many people think of Yu-Gi-Oh! As whoever wins the die roll wins, the match basically. Whoever gets that die roll is having this card that, while again can be very unfair when you play it at the right time, be this great equalizer. Is that more important, even if it means the majority of players have to learn to live with it? And that, of course, is up for you in the comments to say. For me, though, and again, I'm sure this will ruffle some feathers, I'm a little indifferent. I'm playing pure punk right now, so I don't want to get Mystic Mind, and I do make a big field with multiple negates. So I know that this card can really screw me over, and you know what? I got screwed out of or at least the thing that made me X3 and therefore couldn't top at YCS Hartford was Mind Burn. So I know what it feels like to get mined in that. It sucks. And yeah, it is a little annoying when so much of the game is played this way, that you have to therefore just get screwed over because of this one card. And again, there's always that argument of, well, does Mystic Mind promote not having to be skilled at the game, or do you have to be skilled because being able to build a deck around this card and not have it be dealt with is its own set of skill? What even is skill or being intelligent at the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! At that point? There's a lot to discuss here, but I will just sum up my thoughts with being, like I said, I'm indifferent. It can really suck to be Mystic Mind, but at the same time, it is on us as players to play better, learn how to deal with things, learn how to get around threats, learn how to side properly, learn how to deal with things properly. Like my deck and again, maybe this is why I'm a little more okay with it than some. As a punk player, I main deck an out. I main deck a searchable pop, which is really fucking good and does come in handy. And I've experimented with several other main deck options for it, and I play things in the side deck for it. Yeah, will it still happen? Will it probably happen at YCS Niagara next weekend? Probably. It looks like we're probably not getting a ban list that goes into effect before that. And yeah, it sucks, but you're supposed to be playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Because you want the mental challenge, because you want to face an interesting opponent, because you want to learn and get better. Yet at the same time, we constantly have this situation where when a card pops up that forces you to think differently or approach the game differently, so many people just get really mad and want it out there and just want that same single narrow view of how Yu-Gi-Oh! Is supposed to be played, maintained. I'm not trying to put words in people's mouth or assume I know what people are thinking, but it does kind of feel like people don't want mine around because it forces them to have to think a little bit differently and build their decks accordingly, which is what I like about Yu-Gi-Oh! That you can build decks in so many different ways to deal with things. So at the end of the day, do I personally like Mystic Mine? Not overtly, but at the same token, I do feel like what I was saying before, if the game is going to be so fucking degenerate all the time and feel so unwelcoming to anyone who's not willing to drop $300-400 on sprite or tier elements, I'm sorry, but you do need those ways to equalize the game state. And it sucks it has to be this way, but we kind of need this. It's like a Godzilla. You need the great equalizer. Is that the plot to the 2014 movie? I thought it was just to hear Ken Watanabe say that cool line. Anyways, so yeah, in the comment section below, I'm sure many people are going to be mad at my opinions on this card, but tell me about it in the comments section below. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and join me next time to see if our main protagonist will stop being a shirt.